Hey, you ever feel like you're really trying to show someone you care, but it doesn't quite land?
Oh, it's definitely.
Like you give a great gift, you think it's perfect, and they're like, "Oh, thanks," but something's missing.
Yeah, that exact feeling. It happens a lot.
Well, today we're diving into something that might explain that. It's this idea of love languages.
Right, the concept Dr. Gary Chapman observed.
Exactly. It's like everyone has a kind of secret code, a way they uniquely feel loved and, really seen.
That's a really good way to put it. And this deep dive will explore those observations. Dr. Chapman noticed that disconnects in relationships often aren't about a lack of love at all.
No.
No, it's more about a difference in how that love is communicated, how it's expressed, and maybe more importantly, how it's felt.
Okay, so understanding the specific ways we experience affection.
Precisely.
And we're going to unpack the five main ones people talk about.
That's the plan. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
Right. So the goal today is really to get a clear picture of each of these heart codes, I guess you call them.
Heart codes, yeah. So you can connect better with the people you care about.
And it's not just theory, right? This actually helps.
Oh, absolutely. Understanding these different ways love shows up can have a huge impact, really.
Like how?
Well, you can feel more connected, for starters. Fewer misunderstandings, those arguments that seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And ultimately, just building stronger relationships.
Yeah.
Because you're showing care in a way that actually resonates with the other person, emotionally.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more then. This idea,
Uh-huh.
different love languages. It's like you have something important to say.
Mm,
You mean well, but if you say it in, I don't know, French, and they only speak Spanish.
exactly. The intention is good, but the delivery, it misses the mark.
Yeah.
Dr. Chapman's insight was exactly that. People feel unloved, not because others aren't trying.
But because they're speaking different emotional languages.
Spot on. Think about someone who puts all their effort into doing helpful things, mowing the lawn, fixing things,
Mm.
acts of service.
Right.
But maybe their partner primarily feels loved through, say, undivided attention, quality time.
So the effort's there, but it's not.
It's not hitting that emotional sweet spot. It's kind of like, spending hours building an amazing bookshelf for someone.
Yeah.
When what they really needed was for you to just sit down and listen. Really listen.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I know that feeling. That little pang of confusion when you do something you think is super kind and crickets.
Right. It just falls flat.
So what are some of the specific frustrations or problems that pop up when these languages don't line up?
Well, one big one is just feeling sad or confused when your efforts aren't appreciated. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you give a hug because that's your go-to comfort thing,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe your friend going through a rough patch would have felt more cared for if you'd offered to, like, help them tackle that pile of laundry they're stressed about.
Okay, so a mismatch in action versus need.
Exactly. And that mismatch can lead straight into misunderstandings. Arguments even.
Like,
Imagine one sibling always offering to run errands for the other, thinking they're being super helpful.
okay.
But the younger sibling just wants them to sit down and listen for 10 minutes without looking at their phone.
Mm.
The helpfulness might feel like avoidance.
Wow, okay. I can see that.
And then there's the scenario where you feel like you're doing everything, giving so much, but the other person still says they feel unloved.
That sounds painful.
It really can be, like a parent who buys their kid loads of gifts thinking that's love,
Yeah.
but the kid is just aching for some focused playtime, just some time together.
Those examples really hit home. So, okay, if we can start to figure this stuff out, identify these languages, what's the upside? What changes?
Yeah, several big things.
Yeah.
First, you just get it. You understand that people feel loved differently. It's like food preferences or
Yeah.
hobbies.
Right, not everyone likes the same thing.
Exactly. And that understanding helps build empathy, less frustration. Second, you actually learn how to show you care in ways that work for that specific person,
Yeah.
that are meaningful to them, which obviously strengthens the bond.
So it's like a cheat sheet for making people happy.
Huh. Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
A practical guide to nurturing relationships, making people feel genuinely valued.
I like that. A guide to connection. But
Yeah.
are there downsides, things to watch out for when we start thinking this way?
Good question. Yes, definitely a few things. One is the risk of, like, putting people in boxes.
Ah, like your only words of affirmation.
Right. People might have a strong preference, a primary way they feel loved, but they probably appreciate other things too. It's not usually only one way.
Okay, so it's more like a favorite, not the only one.
Exactly. Another risk is just assuming you know someone's language
Yeah.
without asking or really watching how they react.
Like assuming dad loves getting ties because he says thanks.
Yeah, when maybe what he really cherishes are those long phone calls where you just chat. You have to observe, communicate.
Got it. Don't assume.
And lastly, it's really important not to feel like you have to become someone you're not.
How do you mean?
Like if you're not naturally demonstrative with words, forcing yourself to constantly give compliments might feel fake. The goal is authentic expression, finding ways you can genuinely show care within their preferred language.
Finding authentic ways. Okay, so if we boil this first part down, what are the key takeaways?
Okay, three main things jump out.
Mm.
First, love isn't one size fits all. Simple, but huge. What fills your tank might leave someone else feeling empty.
Right.
Second, pay attention. Observe how people react to different things you do. Their responses are the clues.
Okay, be observant.
And third, it's okay to have different languages. You and your partner, your kids, your friends. It's normal. The key is being willing to learn and, try to speak theirs sometimes.
Learn and adapt. Makes sense. All right, let's get specific. These 5 heart codes. Can you walk us through each one?
Absolutely. Let's start with words of affirmation. This one is all about the power of spoken words. Compliments, encouragement, saying, I love you, I appreciate you, you did a great job on that.
So hearing nice things.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
For someone whose primary language this is, hearing these positive things is, well, it's deeply validating. It's like getting a gold star right on your heart.
Huh. I like that. A gold star for your heart.
Yeah, like a simple, sincere, wow, I really admire how you handled that tough meeting. That can mean the world.
I can definitely see that. Okay, what's number 2?
Second is acts of service.
Okay.
For these folks, actions really do speak louder than words.
Yeah.
It's about showing love through helpful deeds.
Like doing the dishes.
Exactly. Doing chores without being asked, running an errand, offering practical help when someone's overwhelmed. It's like having a superhero step in.
A superhero who does the laundry.
Nice.
Sis.
Yeah, basically. It shows you care about their well-being in a really tangible way. Like your partner knows you had a crazy long day and they just start making dinner. That's huge for someone with this language.
That does sound incredibly thoughtful. Okay, third language.
Third is receiving gifts.
Ah, the presents.
No, hang on. It's really important here. It's not usually about the price tag.
Oh, right.
Not necessarily. It's the thought, the effort behind the gift. For someone with this language, a thoughtful present, big or small, is a visual symbol. It says, I was thinking of you.
So it shows you made an effort just for them.
Exactly. It could be a tiny thing that reminds them of a shared joke, or maybe something bigger they mentioned needing. The key is the thoughtfulness.
Yeah, I know people like that. Even a favorite candy bar, unexpectedly, just makes their whole day.
Precisely. That's receiving gifts.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is quality time.
Okay, this sounds important.
It really is, especially now. This language is all about focused attention, undivided attention.
Meaning no phones.
Meaning no phones, no multitasking, just being present with the other person. It could be deep conversation, doing an activity together, or even just, sitting in the same room quietly, but being available. It's creating those moments of real connection.
Where they feel like they're the only thing that matters right then.
Exactly. Like that spotlight analogy. You matter. A family game night where everyone actually puts their devices away. That's prime quality time.
That feels increasingly rare. Okay, and the last one, number 5.
And fifth is physical touch.
Hugs.
Hugs, holding hands, a pat on the back, cuddling on the sofa.
Hugs.
Yes. For people who value this language, physical affection is how they primarily feel connected and loved.
It provides that warmth, that closeness.
It really does. A sense of security, intimacy, that comforting hug from grandma when you were little, or just a reassuring hand squeeze when someone's nervous. That's incredibly powerful for someone with this language.
Okay, so those are the 5. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Got it. Now, what happens when someone isn't getting love in their preferred way? What does that feel like?
Well, if you're consistently missing out on your primary language, it can lead to some pretty negative feelings, understandably.
Like what?
If your language is quality time, you might feel ignored, unimportant, maybe even lonely. If your partner or family is always distracted.
I could see that.
If you value acts of service and you feel like you're carrying the whole load with chores or responsibilities, you might feel really unappreciated, maybe even resentful.
Overwhelmed.
Exactly. And if words of affirmation are your thing, a lack of compliments or encouragement, even if someone is doing nice things or giving gifts, can make you feel insecure. like your efforts aren't seen or you're not good enough.
So it can really lead to feeling fundamentally unloved.
Yeah, or at least not truly understood, like there's a disconnect in the relationship.
Okay, but on the flip side, what are the positives of actually getting this? Understanding these 5 languages?
Oh, the benefits are huge.
Yeah.
First, it gives you names for things. You can identify why certain actions make you feel so good, so loved.
Ah, putting words to the feeling.
Exactly. And that empowers you to tell people what you need. You can actually say, hey, you know what makes me feel really appreciated? When
That's
you...
useful.
Definitely. And it also helps you understand why other people react the way they do. Why that small gesture you barely thought about meant the world to them.
Building empathy again.
For sure.
But are there any potential snags, misunderstandings that come up just by thinking in these 5 categories?
Yeah, we need to be a bit careful. First, remember, these probably aren't the only 5 ways people feel love. They're common patterns, but not exhaustive.
Okay, good point.
Second, try not to get caught up in which language is better or worse. They're all valid, all important.
Right, no hierarchy.
None at all.
Yeah.
And finally, remember that how a language is expressed matters too. Like words of affirmation. Some people love public praise. Others might cringe and prefer it said privately.
The details within the language.
Exactly. Context matters.
Okay. So key lessons for navigating these 5 languages.
Yeah.
What should we keep in mind?
All right, 3 things. 1, respect the differences. Acknowledge that what fills your emotional tank might not be the same for someone else.
Okay.
2, value all the languages.
Mhm.
Each one is important and a valid way to feel loved.
Got it.
And 3, think of learning about them like learning basic phrases in different languages. It
Yeah.
just expands your ability to connect,
Mhm.
to make people feel genuinely understood.
Makes sense. Now, Dr. Chapman often talks about a primary love language, the one that's like #1 for a person.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard people say it's maybe not always that simple. What's the nuance there?
That's a really sharp observation. The primary language idea is super helpful as a starting point,
Oh.
definitely. But yeah, it can be an oversimplification sometimes.
How so?
Well, think of it less like having only one absolute favorite ice cream flavor, and maybe more like you really love chocolate and strawberry, but vanilla is pretty good too sometimes.
Okay, so you can appreciate multiple flavors, but maybe lean towards 1 or 2.
Exactly. Most people probably appreciate feeling loved in several ways, even if 1 or 2 resonate more strongly.
So what problems can come up if we focus too much on just finding that single primary one?
Well, one issue is feeling boxed in, like you have to pick one, when honestly, you might really value both a heartfelt compliment and someone helping you with a tough project.
Feeling forced to choose.
Yeah. Another problem is you might accidentally neglect other important ways to show love if you're laser focused on the supposed primary. Like you assume your partner's primary is acts of service, so you do all the chores, but you forget I also really value just sitting and talking, that quality time. You might miss the mark.
Focusing too narrowly.
Right. And also, someone might feel, well, less loved if affection is shown in a way that isn't their supposed primary, even if the intention was good.
So if they expect quality time, an act of service might not land as well.
It might not fill their tank in the same way, even if it was meant lovingly. They might still be craving that focused attention.
That's a really crucial distinction. Okay,
Yeah.
but even with those potential issues, does the primary idea still have value as a starting point?
Oh, absolutely. It can be a really useful guidepost. If you notice your friend just beams every time you offer specific encouragement,
Yeah.
that's a pretty strong clue that words of affirmation are really important to them. It gives you a direction to focus your efforts, especially when you want to make someone feel extra cared for.
So it helps prioritize.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if your partner is stressed and you know acts of service is big for them, offering to take something off their plate might be the most impactful thing you can do right then.
Okay.
And it definitely opens the door to conversations. Hey, I've noticed you seem to really appreciate when I X. Is that something that makes you feel loved?
Using it to start talking about it.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about the risks if we lean too hard on this primary idea?
Right, the pitfalls. Well, one big risk is just oversimplifying people.
Yeah.
We're complex. Our needs can shift, context matters. Fitting someone neatly into one box often misses the richness of who they are.
Or more than just one language.
Definitely. Another risk is making assumptions instead of communicating. Just because someone liked the gift you gave them doesn't automatically mean receiving gifts is their #1. Maybe they just appreciated the thought, but really crave more quality time. You got to ask, observe.
Assumptions versus communication. Got it.
And finally, it can create this weird pressure. Like you have to constantly perform their primary language perfectly. That can feel inauthentic, even exhausting.
Yeah, like you're putting on a show instead of just being yourself.
Exactly. Love should feel genuine.
Okay, so summing up this section on the primary language idea, what are the key lessons?
Okay, three big ones. First, think preferences, not rigid rules. People likely have a preferred way, maybe two. But appreciate love in many forms. It's a spectrum.
Preferences, not rules. Like it.
Second, pay attention to what actually works. Observe what makes people light up. Listen to what they say they need, rather than just sticking to a label you've assigned them.
Observe and listen. Crucial.
And third, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't rely on just one way to show love. Mix it up. A more well-rounded approach often feels more genuine and covers more bases.
Makes sense. So even if primary isn't a perfect label, just understanding preferences seems super powerful for relationships. How does that play out?
Oh, it's huge. Think of it like having the right key for a lock. When you show love in a way that resonates with someone's preferences, it just clicks.
It lands properly.
Exactly. It sends that message loud and clear. I see you, I get you, I value you. And that builds connection, trust.
Yeah.
It cuts down on those misunderstandings because your actions are being received as love.
So people just feel happier, more secure.
Generally, yes. When people consistently feel loved in ways that speak to them personally, it really boosts the overall health and happiness of the relationship.
And what happens when we don't get this? When we ignore preferences?
Well, that's when you get frustration. You keep trying to show you care, but it falls flat. You might give tons of compliments to someone who really just wants a hug.
And wonder why they still seem down.
Right. Or you misinterpret things. Maybe your partner does a bunch of chores thinking they're showing love, acts of service, but you really wanted to talk quality time, so you feel like they're avoiding you.
Ouch. Misinterpretations.
Yeah. And the big one is just feeling disconnected. Even in close relationships, if the love languages are constantly mismatched, people can end up feeling quite lonely.
That's sad. Okay, so conversely, the benefits of getting it right, making that effort.
The benefits are really significant. First, you're speaking their language. They feel truly understood, seen, valued. That's massive. It leads to way better communication, fewer hurt feelings, because your good intentions are actually landing as intended.
Less static on the line.
Good way to put it. And ultimately, it just makes relationships stronger, happier, more fulfilling, built on real understanding.
But are there any, ethical things to watch out for here? Potential pitfalls?
Definitely. It's crucial to use this understanding genuinely. Don't use love languages as a way to manipulate someone, If I do X for them, they'll do Y for me. That's not love.
Right. Authenticity matters.
Always. Also, don't think this is a magic wand. It won't fix everything. Trust, respect, good communication skills. Those are still fundamental. This is a tool, not the whole toolbox.
Good point. It's not a cure-all.
And finally, don't get discouraged if things don't change overnight. Building deeper connection takes time, consistent effort. Small steps matter.
Patience and consistency. Okay, so what are the core principles here about the power of understanding preferences?
Okay, first principle. Showing love in their preferred way directly fills their emotional love tank. It builds that sense of security and being cherished.
Filling the love tank. I like that visual.
Second, small, consistent efforts in their language often mean more than grand gestures in yours. That regular helping hand, acts of service, might beat an occasional fancy gift if that's what they value.
Consistency over grand gestures. Got it.
And third, see this is a powerful tool for connection, but not a rigid formula. Combine it with genuine care, listening, and talking openly.
A tool, not a formula. Okay. You mentioned a family example earlier, the Millers. Can you walk us through that again, how understanding preferences helped them?
Sure. So the Millers, Sarah, the mom, felt unheard by Tom, her husband. She needed quality time to talk about her day.
Okay.
Tom felt unappreciated because Sarah rarely praised his efforts around the house. He needed words of affirmation.
Mismatched needs.
Totally. Their son, Leo, seemed withdrawn even though he got stuff he craved, quality time with them. And Mia, the daughter, loved art but felt discouraged. She needed words of affirmation about her talent, more than just hugs.
So lots of crosswire.
Big time. But then they learned about love languages, and they started making small changes consciously.
Like what?
Tom started putting his phone down, really listening when Sarah talked.
Yeah.
Sarah made a point to say, Tom, thank you so much for fixing the fence. It looks great.
Specific affirmation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They started regular family game nights, dedicated quality time for Leo. And they began praising Mia's artwork specifically. Wow, Mia, the colors you used here are amazing.
So targeted efforts based on preference.
Right. And over time, these small intentional shifts, they made a huge difference. Better communication, people felt seen and appreciated. The whole family felt more connected.
That's a fantastic example. It shows it really works. Now, we've talked a lot about family, but you mentioned focusing too much on a single primary language can backfire. Can you expand on those dangers?
Right. It's about balance. If you get too fixated on nailing just one language, you can run into trouble.
How so?
Well, someone might feel unfulfilled if other ways they appreciate love are totally neglected. Imagine someone whose top language is receiving gifts, but they never get quality time or a hug. They might feel a bit empty, despite the presence.
Okay, so neglecting the other valued languages.
Exactly. It can also put weird pressure on the other person, like they have to constantly perform that one specific language perfectly. That feels draining and, frankly, not very loving.
Pressure to perform.
Yeah. And crucially, don't forget about expressing love in ways that feel authentic to you. Healthy relationships need that give and take, where both people feel genuine in how they show affection.
So it's not just about the receiver.
Not at all. It needs to work both ways.
Okay, so even though the primary idea helps us start, what are the specific risks if we over-rely on it, if we get too rigid?
Over-reliance can lead to a few key problems. It can create a really inflexible view of love. Relationships need to breathe, adapt, change. A rigid formula doesn't allow for that.
Love isn't a formula.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It can also make us ignore other vital stuff. Trust, respect, shared goals, just basic kindness. Love languages are part of the picture, not the whole thing.
Right, keep perspective.
And it can lead to feelings of guilt or failure. If you feel like you're not doing their primary language right, or if they're not responding perfectly, it can feel like you're messing up.
Setting ourselves up for failure if we're too rigid.
Potentially, yes.
So how do we avoid these traps? What are the key lessons for finding that balance?
Okay, 3 key things for balance. 1, aim for flexibility. Be mindful of strong preferences, yes, but don't ignore other ways to connect. Offer a mix.
Balanced approach.
2, keep talking. Communication is still king. Check in. Ask how they're feeling. Talk about needs. Don't just rely on your assumptions about their language.
Communication, always.
And 3, authenticity trumps perfection. A genuine, maybe slightly awkward attempt to show love is usually better than a perfectly executed but insincere gesture. Be real.
Authenticity over perfection. Love that. Now, you gave some great practical tips for families earlier. Can you quickly recap those?
Sure. 5 quick ideas. 1, have a love language menu chat. Fun, open discussion about what everyone likes in each category. Maybe make a list.
Okay, family menu.
2, try love language surprise days. Someone picks another family member and intentionally does something in their language.
Fun.
3, just observe. Pay attention to reactions. What makes people genuinely smile?
Be a detective.
Yeah. 4, apologize in their language when needed. If it's words, verbalize it sincerely. If it's acts of service, maybe offer to fix what you broke, literally or figuratively.
Tailored apologies. Smart.
And 5, do regular, informal love tank check-ins. Just gently ask, hey, feeling loved lately? Anything I can do?
Keep it light.
Love tank check-ins. Great phrase. These sound super useful. Can you share maybe one more story, like the Johnsons showing this in action?
Yeah, the Johnson family. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, teenagers, Maya and Ethan, they loved each other but felt disconnected.
Okay, common theme.
Right. Maya needed quality time, but parents were busy. Ethan thrived on words of affirmation, especially for his art, but didn't get much specific praise. Mr. Johnson valued acts of service and words of affirmation, felt unseen sometimes. Mrs. Johnson liked physical touch and acts of service, wished for more hugs and help.
So they get different needs all around.
Exactly. So they learned about the languages. Parents scheduled specific one-on-one time with Maya, no phones.
Dedicated time. They started really noticing and praising Ethan's art. Ethan, the detail on this is incredible. Put it on the fridge.
Visible affirmation.
Mr. Johnson started thanking Mrs. J for specific things she did. She made an effort to give more hugs, touch his arm. Ethan left little thank you notes, acts of service words. Maya helped in the garden, acts of service. Mr. J planned a surprise movie night, quality time acts.
Wow, lots of small action.
Lots of small, intentional actions. When Maya was upset, they made sure to sit and listen, quality time. Birthdays became more tailored and outing for Maya, framing Ethan's art. Daily stuff too, morning hugs, saying good luck today, phones away at dinner.
It sounds like it really changed the atmosphere.
It did. Consistently showing love in ways that resonated with each person just led to a warmer, more connected family. They felt seen.
That's powerful. Okay, so this clearly works wonders in families, but can we take these ideas outside the home to friendships, work, other relationships?
Oh, absolutely. The core idea, understanding what makes others feel valued, is universal. It applies everywhere.
Like how? Give me some examples.
Sure. With friends. Know someone values words of affirmation. Send that encouraging text before their big presentation. Friend values acts of service. Offer to help them move or bring soup when they're sick.
Okay, practical friendship applications.
At school, thank a teacher specifically for how they helped you understand something, words. Offer to help clean up the classroom, acts,
Mm-hmm.
on teams or at work. Praise a colleague's contribution in a meeting, words. Offer to grab coffee for someone swamped, acts, gifts. Help someone figure out a tricky problem, acts, quality time.
Makes sense, even with yourself.
Yeah. Think about what makes you feel good, cared for. Do you need quiet time? Words of encouragement, maybe self-talk. Treat yourself to something small. Gift. Taking care of yourself matters too.
That's a great point. So what are the frustrations when these things don't happen in wider circles?
Similar issues, really.
Mhm.
Maybe a friendship feels one-sided because your gestures just aren't landing. You feel like you're giving, but they don't seem to appreciate it in the way you expect.
Yeah.
Misunderstandings with mentors or colleagues who show support differently than you expect.
Mm-hmm.
You might feel unvalued or feeling unsupported even when people are trying to help, just not in the way you need.
Same problems, different context.
Pretty much.
And the benefits of applying this wider.
Stronger friendships, definitely. More meaningful connections. Better teamwork, smoother communication at work or on projects, and just feeling generally more supported and understood by the people around you. It builds community.
Okay. Any specific risks or watch-outs when we take this beyond close family?
Yeah, a couple of things. Be sensitive. Not everyone knows this framework, so don't try to diagnose everyone's love language out loud.
Ah, right. Don't be weird about it.
Exactly. Don't be too rigid.
Yeah.
Sometimes a simple thank you is just a thank you. It doesn't need deep analysis.
Keep it natural.
And don't overthink everything. The goal is more thoughtfulness, not constant strategic calculation in your relationships. That's exhausting and kind of misses the point.
Right. Be thoughtful, not calculating. Okay, so key lessons for applying this broadly.
Okay, 1. Just thinking about how others might feel appreciated makes you a better friend, teammate, person. It shifts your focus outward.
Builds empathy.
Totally.
Really?
2. Small, thoughtful actions, tailored even slightly, go a really long way in building goodwill everywhere.
Small things matter.
They really do. And 3, while primary language might not be perfect science for everyone, the core idea that people feel valued in different ways is incredibly powerful. Learning to recognize and speak those different appreciation languages helps you connect better with almost anyone.
Like learning key phrases when you travel.
Exactly like that. It
Yeah.
opens doors.
So as we wrap this up, it really feels like the main takeaway is about diversity. Love isn't monolithic.
Not at all.
And while maybe the primary label is a bit too neat, understanding these different ways people feel love, these preferences, these languages, that's the real power.
That's the heart of it.
Yeah.
Recognizing diversity and how love is expressed and received.
It's key for stronger connections everywhere.
Absolutely. So the encouragement for everyone listening is start paying attention. Notice how people around you show love. Notice how they react when you show love.
Observe.
Observe. And don't be afraid to ask. Talk about it, what makes you feel appreciated, and then try to speak that language. Speak from the heart in their language.
As a call to action. Observe, ask, and try.
Exactly.
And I guess the final thought is just realizing this, becoming aware of these differences. It really can transform your connections. It fosters that deeper understanding with, well, everyone. It's a powerful shift in perspective. Thanks for diving deep into this with us today. Hey, you ever feel like you're really trying to show someone you care, but it doesn't quite land?
Oh, it's definitely.
Like you give a great gift, you think it's perfect, and they're like, oh, thanks, but something's missing.
Yeah, that exact feeling. It happens a lot.
Well, today we're diving into something that might explain that. It's this idea of love languages.
Right, the concept Dr. Gary Chapman observed.
Exactly. It's like everyone has a kind of secret code, a way they uniquely feel loved and, really seen.
That's a really good way to put it. And this deep dive will explore those observations. Dr. Chapman noticed that disconnects in relationships often aren't about a lack of love at all.
No.
No, it's more about a difference in how that love is communicated, how it's expressed, and maybe more importantly, how it's felt.
Okay, so understanding the specific ways we experience affection.
Precisely.
And we're going to unpack the five main ones people talk about.
That's the plan. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
Right. So the goal today is really to get a clear picture of each of these heart codes, I guess you call them.
Heart codes, yeah. So you can connect better with the people you care about.
And it's not just theory, right? This actually helps.
Oh, absolutely. Understanding these different ways love shows up can have a huge impact, really.
Like how?
Well, you can feel more connected, for starters. Fewer misunderstandings, those arguments that seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And ultimately, just building stronger relationships.
Yeah.
Because you're showing care in a way that actually resonates with the other person, emotionally.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more then. This idea,
Uh-huh.
different love languages. It's like, you have something important to say.
Mm,
You mean well, but if you say it in, I don't know, French, and they only speak Spanish.
exactly. The intention is good, but the delivery, it misses the mark.
Yeah.
Dr. Chapman's insight was exactly that. People feel unloved, not because others aren't trying.
But because they're speaking different emotional languages.
Spot on. Think about someone who puts all their effort into doing helpful things, mowing the lawn, fixing things, acts of service.
Right.
But maybe their partner primarily feels loved through, say, undivided attention, quality time.
So the effort's there, but it's not.
It's not hitting that emotional sweet spot. It's kind of like, spending hours building an amazing bookshelf for someone.
Yeah.
When what they really needed was for you to just sit down and